Unfortunately, its true purpose is something much more entertainers and celebrities, by virtually every metric imaginable, this planet is in very good health. The very idea that President Trump has to disavow racists is almost laughable. He has condemned racists over
A few moments later.
and over
Eventually.
and over.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
And over. He condemned the racists in Charlottesville just after it happened. He has condemned every single racist that he can. Yet, for some reason, he still has to condemn them again. Meanwhile, Democrats do not have to condemn all racists, just the racists that they disagree with. The Proud Boys were condemned by Trump, not because they were white supremacists, and they are not. This is because they are a mixed bag of melanin concentrations. He condemned them because they were using violence. What does it accomplish to use violence when violence only begets more violence? Nick Sandmann was just minding his own business after he went to the March for Life at Washington, D.C., along with several of his classmates from Covington Catholic. All of a sudden, a man decided to approach them, banging a drum for no reason at all. Naturally, the fake news decided to jump on this and frame it as if he and his friends surrounded the man to laugh at him. CNN already had to settle with him, and they were none too happy that he spoke at the RNC. However, many other outlets decided that they would defame a child just to influence an election. These included the New York Times, ABC, CBS, and Rolling Stone. Sandman will be proceeding with his lawsuit against each of them. Personally, I applaud Sandman for not just rolling over, but for standing up to the fake news. If more people like him stood up against the fake news, these outlets would lose so much power and influence. These networks do not have a leg to stand on, and I predict that they will settle out of court as well. Carpe Donktum posted a meme of a black child being chased by a white child, satirically edited to look like it was from CNN. As such, the clip has been shared countless times, and I would include it here, but I am not sure if I am allowed to. However, I am sure that you can find it across the internet. This is funny, and every single person who saw the meme knew that it was a joke at CNN's expense. However, the parents of the children did not think so. They decided to institute a lawsuit against the legendary meme maker, as well as President Trump. Again, I do not think that they have a leg to stand on. However, this one may be more difficult to work through in court. We all know that if you loot and riot, the virus will not affect you. But if you go to church, it does. There are two sides to this: the rioters and the worshippers. First, the rioters. It is no secret that the rioters have decided to burn down every city that they can get their hands on, instead of using their political reach to try and get body cams or improve education within black communities. The leaders of BLM have decided to use that money for personal use. Just like the daughter of a former Secretary of State who decided to use federal funds for a lavish wedding. In Atlanta, the group spent $200,000 on personal purchases. These people do not care about black communities, just their money. I guess they are Democrats, so that should not be surprising. The second is the worshippers, such as those at Capitol Hill Baptist Church. They were denied a permit for an outdoor service with the proper social distancing guidelines in place. Naturally, the church sued and the Justice Department is actually on their side. Granted, we need to place our faith in the Almighty rather than government agencies. But it is nice when they do their job too. President Trump and the First Lady caught the China virus. He got treatment at the Walter Reed Hospital and stayed in the presidential suite and continued to run our country from there. Despite the absence of a need for the 25th Amendment to be invoked, Democrats did anyway. Either way, he was in good health, mostly because he was not crammed into a nursing home as Cuomo did to the elderly in New York. He even went out in a motorcade from the safety of his limo. Despite that, Democrats still found a way to complain. After all of this, he is in good health, and his message to the American people is that we cannot let fear control our lives.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
However, the fake news will continue to manipulate this until there is a Democrat majority or the American people stand together. Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe has declassified documents showing that John Brennan briefed then-President Obama about the plan to smear candidate Trump to benefit Clinton. You heard that correctly. President Obama knew that the deep state planned to destroy President Trump from the get-go. So, the Russia collusion narrative was not only propagated by the fake news, but was started in the White House itself. However, there is good news on the way. President Trump has authorized the declassification of all of Clinton's emails in regard to the Russia collusion narrative. It is all coming full circle. If the Democrats had run a fair race and focused on the issues, they might have won, and all of these crimes would have been forgotten. However, they kept Sleepy Joe in the race just so that investigating Ukraine was campaign interference. This was after the Russia collusion narrative made to protect Clinton failed. Despite all of this, our president continues to make America great again. I desperately hope that when Cuties was first released on Netflix, that people in prominent positions would see the danger and take action. The company has been indicted by a grand jury in Texas for posting lewd advertisements in regards to the movie. A promotional showing of sexual exploitation of those under the age of 18 is treated very seriously in Texas. Netflix has gone on record to say that it is a satire against exploiting children, even as it shows the most horrific things that I could not even say. They also mention the numerous awards that it has received. We need to keep this pressure on, lest those who want this to be an orientation win out in the end. The Chinese Communist Party is, according to the DHS, actively working to subvert our election results. They intend to use the China virus, which I am still convinced was released by their government in response to both the Hong Kong protesters and the trade war. Question: which party wants more restrictions as a result of the China virus? Answer: the same party that would stand to benefit from Chinese interference. Conclusion: the Democrats have the most to gain from Chinese interference, just like with Russia. Clinton gave the Russians everything that they wanted as Secretary of State. Why would they hack the election to benefit Trump? Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants to create a commission on presidential capacity to see if the commander-in-chief is fit to continue, but insists that it is not about President Trump. And if you believe her,
I got some bullshit
This is all about President Trump. Logically, a president can still run the country from a hospital suite, but not from a ventilator. This commission is specifically designed so that whoever controls the majority in Congress can remove a sitting president whenever it is politically feasible. And that is a scary thought. Vice President Pence calmly deflected all of Senator Harris's attacks and misinformation, such as her lie that the Trump administration did nothing in January, even though he did act while the Democrats were busy on their impeachment scheme. Her lie that Biden would not raise taxes, even though she repeatedly said throughout the debate that he would raise taxes on certain people. Her lie that a Biden campaign would not institute massive government control in regards to climate change, even though both of them have said the opposite. Her lie that President Trump would not agree to a peaceful transition of power, even though her party spent the last 3 years trying to overthrow the last election. She also dodged the question of packing the Supreme Court and deflected it by saying that there are too many white people. The fake news accused Pence of mansplaining, but did not accuse Harris of womansplaining. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion.